miss with a dozen roses. Such would astound you, the joy of children laughing around you. These are the makings of you. It is true, the makings of you. The righteous way to go, little one would know.
It's the mark of booty.
Shit. Nah. Love the royal priesthood. Mark of Buddha, Sekou the madman, Killer Priest, Fourth Chambers, Full Fuji. This beat sound like something I wear. You dig? Yo, hold on my people, why you walking around like you equal? They wrote you in as 3/5. What we gon' do about this? Talk too much, you end up like Jimi Hendrix in 27 Club. You want that knowledge? Well, I'm the plug. Knowledge itself is the drug, and I keep dropping the nugs. Culture pushing, wisdom spitting, pimping simpletons into listening. Yawning while you spewing fiction. I can feel the tensions in your intentions. I wonder if that's Johnson heaven. If God is white, why he write that bronze of the sun? They give us reparations, that's when the apocalypse begun. Yeah. Red rhyme, okay. Yeah. Red rhyme, better rhyme. Grab your guns, daughters and sons. Wasn't long ago when they had us hung. Blood on the leaves, frontal crumbled in between. Exhale for my ancestors that prevailed. We inhale, so we inhale, dodging death every day. Just happy I'm here to tell the tale. Meanwhile, y'all with the pigs and them tattletales. I'ma just be a scientist if it all fails. Mixing chemicals like a cocktail. My tree smell like it's from the tropical. So not for sale, never settle. Follow the tears on the trail. Nah.
That whole African American thing is to omit, you see, the indigenous black man of this particular land. When we brought the African American term, we cut out all of the Caribbean, all of South America, all of Latin America. And this is another way to reclassify you, you see what I'm saying, outside of power.
We got blacks, whites, brown and yellow. We got red, those with dreads found from the ghetto. We got bullet led and misled, the smile of the devil. On the face of the moon, heart pound like a rebel. Hear the sound of the metal. War in Iraq, 6 feet underground with the shovel. All over the map, the Bible said signs of the time. The Torah said that's your God, not mine. The Holy Quran says it's all Allah's design. The Buddhist says let's meet at the shrine. Thou shalt not eat of the swine. That you is the cut, sure as blue as the blood. Killer priests in the temple, Nehru is the love.
That's a political move that was put in by the government to break you down to this subclass, you see, and not be a world community. So to call you an African American is to disconnect you from that global community and that great diaspora that we were talking about. So that's a political move. Yes, come on. The average Native American was this brother's complexion at the turn of the century. Now when you say Native American, it's some white person with a feather in his hair. Right.
Peace and blessings to the family. Welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio. Place for Knowledge is Born. It's your host, Knowledge Born Allah. And we got a special guest by special request. Okay. It's been a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a minute. A little something, you know, not a full 60 seconds, about 30 seconds, 30, 45 seconds. You understand what I'm saying? So we are glad to continue on this tradition of a year-end review, and no one more bona fide, no one more qualified than this mastermind that is here before you. Okay. She picked up 2025 and put it on her back, okay, and been skull dragging it ever since. So it becomes my honor and privilege at this time to introduce something to others: a healer, a teacher, a profound mind, Mother God herself, Reverend Dr. J. and Huskey, straight from trap therapy, okay? Straight from trap therapy.
Great.
House of Blanco, New Eden University. How you doing, ma'am?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm working on my tan, okay?
Okay.
They said the blacker the berry, the cheaper the mortgage. You know what I'm saying? So
Down with
I'm
that.
getting all something going
I got a lot of work to do then.
on. Uh, 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 2025. Has it been a whirlwind? Has it been a roller coaster? Has it been a tug of war? Has it been a house of cards? Has it been
All of the above. Like
Dixie Duck? I don't
2025
know.
did not come to play.
Mm. So you made a lot of miracles happen this year. Okay, if you had a top three for this year as far as uh, things you were proud of, you know, what are they?
I think number one is definitely launching New Eden University. My students just finished up their very first semester of the university, and I'm very proud of them. They're wrapping it on up, going into that second half. So that's definitely number one for me. Um, Number two is just maintaining my health. The last couple of years, I struggled physically and medically with my health. I think I found a nice holistic balance now, so I haven't been ill this year. So definitely thankful
Mm.
for that. Um, and I think number three is just finding time to sit down. That's something I haven't been able to do in years. So that's an accomplishment for me. It might not sound like much to somebody else, but that's progress for me. So having time to just sit down and just chill and just be with my children, enjoy life, all of that is great.
That's a super bar. Okay, you running 75 businesses. You got 85 degrees, and you know the wheels don't never stop. So you found a way to achieve some semblance of balance in regards to what you're doing, who you're doing it for, and who it matters most to. So I think that's abundant congratulations in order. Okay, abundant congratulations in order because you're there for all of us and all of our BS anytime, day and the night. So I'm glad that you found some space in that regard.
Definitely.
Like that, like that, like that,
What
like that.
about you? What's your top three for 2025?
2025 celebrating 10 years of Do Knowledge Radio. That's 10-year anniversary, the anniversary, and that was a family reunion. It was a conscious reunion. It was one of the greatest catalysts of motivation in regards to what it is, what the founding principles of Do Not Radio was and is. Glad to see that a decade later, it hasn't fallen by the wayside or strayed away from its tenets, to be a sacred space, a safe space for Black people to be celebrated, to be elevated, to be informed, and to have it done in an authentic, non conformative or performative manner. So I think that's the one. Two was a determined idea in regards to the books, even though the books have been done over the past couple of years, but 2025 was a real push for the books, Voices of the Diaspora ebook series. There's 12 books now. It started off and there's 1 through 5, and it's at 12 now and growing. A couple other books will be written in that series. And the third one is there's a thirst and a hunger for learning how to properly envision and visualize Black stories and like a new lease on life. You know, with all of the war torn situations, in my early years and growth and military service and all of that, it was very easy to teeter off into the land of the other living versus being present in this physical realm.
Mm.
So a new connection and passion and compassion for life in the physical world. So yeah, 2025 kind of brought that about in a way where everything else kind of works together because of that. So I'm loving on life like I love Dawn, her twin, previous. You understand? Yeah, life is life is great. Life is great. So we talked about New Eden University. What is it about Hope House that is a beacon of life and hope for you in that way, and what continues you to be a source of light in that regard, in addition to the university?
So, with Hope House, it is what we call a secure facility for um, where they were previously called battered women shelters and things like that. They changed and tweaked the names a bit. But this facility is different because they live there full time. There is security. You have to have secure access to get into the building. And this is for more severe cases of domestic violence where there may be a court case going on or there may be a threat to their life where we have law enforcement present and they're protected at all times. It's basically an old textile mill that we remodeled into some apartments. And so it takes a lot to run it, especially now that the government doesn't give the grants and the funding to these types of businesses anymore. It takes a lot to run it, but we make it happen. And all of our residents and their children are safe. Some of them are even homeschooled. We do have on site nurses and on site counseling. So it's turned out to be something great for sure.
I love that. I'm sliding in another question before you ask me a question. Welcome to. One of them, at least. Hold on. What's happening over
What you digging in the crates for over there? I'm scared.
here? Doesn't make any sense. So,
This
oh,
could go so many ways when you're digging in the crate.
uh, I know I got one of your books right here somewhere. There we go. Bam. As soon as I move something, there you go. This book up.
uh, yeah,
Okay.
I did a
So
thing this year.
since since the coldest winter ever, I'm gonna tell you. Since the coldest winter ever, you remember Sister Soldier's book, Coldest
Absolutely.
Winter Ever? I had yet to be captivated in the way that I was captivated reading this book.
I
Okay.
appreciate that. I take that as
Sister
a
Soldier,
highest compliment.
yeah. Sister Soldier was the creme de la creme in regards to writing and capturing. I didn't read too much fiction. Her and her Donald Goins, Iceberg Slim, of course, those two. But her and Eric Jerome Dickey was the ones that was like had me in the zone. So
Hmm.
this is fiction-ish for me. I'm gonna be quiet and let you, talk about it. This is fiction-ish for me. You know, I, I
Fiction-ish.
yeah. There's I know there's no such thing as fiction, but
Definitely
this
some
was in
art
one
imitating
of
life.
yeah one of the greatest rides. Okay, that I've been on. I want to see the movie. I want to be in the book club. You understand what I'm saying? Like I want this likeness to come to life. You know what I'm saying? So I give
Definitely
way. What
working
was it
on it.
like for you writing and uh, giving these characters life in this way?
It was hard in some ways and pretty easy and smooth in others. Definitely a lot of art imitating life. Like I said, the characters were based on people that I knew. The experiences were based on my own personal experiences, the experiences of the people around me. So there wasn't a lot of coming up with things or imagining things. This was just real life that I regurgitated onto the pages. And so, in that aspect, it wasn't difficult. Um, Deciding how to tell the story was more difficult than actually telling the story. I think that when it comes to urban fiction, especially, people have certain stereotypes or certain expectations that go along with it. And so I wanted to make sure that I was still being very genuine to myself and very genuine to my experiences, but still telling the story in a way that was going to captivate the audience as well. Um, I wanted it to feel like you sitting around talking to your auntie or your older cousin and she telling you about how, she used to run the streets back in the day. Like that was the vibe that I was going for. I can remember being a teenager and, I'm a PK, I'm a preacher's kid. I had to sneak and read the coldest winter ever. I had to sneak and read the Omar Tyrese and the Iceberg Slims because mama wasn't going for it. So I wanted, if somebody does have to sneak and read that book, I wanted to be worth sneaking and read. That's how I thought about it.
Definitely worth the sneak and read. You understand? And I don't want Queen Mother Zane to slap me. Queen Mother Zane is definitely in the pantheon of the
Of
pantheons and the
course.
pantheons of the pantheons of
Hmm.
books. So she was on this platform.
Hmm. And I
She's a
love the
preacher's
same.
child as well. So Zane came from that. Her not wanting her parents to find out, even as a grown woman, that
Hmm.
she was writing these books.
The way I
So
clutched my pearls when I found out my mama read it, oh my goodness. Because, whoo, I thought I was in so much trouble.
yeah.
But no, Zane is definitely one of my influences for sure. Um, I like authors who are just authentic. I like the
Mhm.
authors that don't try to code switch, that don't try to put on this super proper European influenced air about themselves. I don't like that. I want you to tell your story how you talk. I want the characters to speak how we speak. I
Right.
don't want you to describe even intimate scenes the way that somebody on Cinemax would talk how we talk. Like that's what I'm into. And so I wanted to make sure that my voice came across very authentic in the books.
Definitely. So whenever the book club is or the book discussion, you know what I'm saying, I'll be up in there. You know what I'm saying? Up in there. Okay. Yeah. So it's your turn. I believe you got a question in some kind of way.
I'm interested in knowing of all the craziness that went around with 2025. I want to know how you feel about the Charlie Kirk situation. 'Cause you and I haven't spoken much um, about that, but I want to know your opinion on the martyrdom of Charlie Kirk.
Martyrdom. Woo, we're going that far.
That's what they calling it now. That's what
We
the
going.
streets are saying, the martyrdom now. That's what Nikki said. Nicki Minaj said it must be true, of course. So yeah, what are
I,
your
I
thoughts
mean,
on it?
I feel her. I feel her in the position that she's coming from. Folks is about deporting her and all kinds of BS. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I'll ask you about the delineation FBA movement in a second. Okay, so it's in
Mhm.
there. So, uh, but the Charlie Kirk situation, I think the attention that it garnered was useless. Right? I think it was useless, but I think it was manipulated in the way for what you see now. You
Mhm.
know, I think that if that was a thing that happened in the way that they said it happened, I think it was perfect. Right? It was like an episode of 24, House of Cards, and all of the dramatization that kind of goes with that.
Mhm.
So it also showed the the easy manipulation of the mind, right? You can push a thought a certain kind of way and have people erupting about it that don't know nothing about it anywhere, everywhere. And you can get the loyalists, you can get the detractors, you get to see all of that from one instance, right? There are millions of young black men, women, and children missing. They're hunted, they are trafficked, their organs are harvested, and nobody bats an eye about it. Millions here and all over the planet. There's starvation, there's food deserts, there's bad food, there's miseducation, there's all kinds of little flash in the pan. It's where the attention goes. They're sensationalized, and there's a bunch of things that happen. So, in that instance, if it's entertainment and it's entertaining, I guess, it is what it is. My concern has been, will be, is, and forever will be with our people alone. There's so much work to be done amongst our people from a personal, a professional, an economic, academic, parenting, grandparenting, community aspect that I don't have any inclination or mind for anybody else.
I completely
So
understand that. I caught a lot of heat when this happened. You know, they always mad at me on the internet about something.
I did clown for about 3 seconds though, because I didn't know who that was. So I was like, Charlie Sheen? They done shot Charlie Sheen? They're like, no. They like Charlie Kirk. I said Captain Kirk. They done shot Captain Kirk from Star Trek. They was like, no, Charlie. Charlie Murphy. They like, no.
I don't think most
I,
black people
I
knew
didn't
who
like
he
who was
was.
that. I don't even know who that is. So I'm like, oh, okay. All right,
Yeah.
whatever. But
I don't think
yeah, I
most black
mean,
people knew who he was until this happened.
I
And
don't
not
Charlie
from a
Brown.
standpoint of him being unimportant, but unimportant to us. Like that's we're not his target demographic. Like that was kind of a that ain't got nothing to do with us type moment.
Mm,
Very much the same way that when we have actual people deserving of a term martyr gunned
mm,
down or are taken out, white folks don't care because that ain't got nothing to do with them. So I kind of felt like, it's sad. Somebody lost a husband, a child lost a father. From that surface level, compassionate aspect, okay, sorry for your loss. But the revolutionary in me says the antelope doesn't grieve when the lion dies. Like
mm,
I'm not upset about that. Like, I'm not, that's not something. This is another person who hated my community. This is another person who said some very degrading things about black women specifically. So pardon me if
mm,
I don't have tears for this man losing his life because he made it very clear how he felt about me while he was still here. And the heat that I caught on the internet for being unbothered by it. I didn't bash this man. I didn't I had a lot I could say, but being respectful of somebody losing their husband and a person losing their life, I kept it cute. But the heat that I caught was because all the racists and the bigots were, if this was a black man, you would be up in arms. And it's been a black man several times, and none of y'all cared. So miss me with that. Like
mm.
they kept attacking and kept going and kept going. And one of them said, Charlie Kirk is not a racist. And me, with my clever tongue, said, no, he is not a racist. He was a racist. R.I.P. Charlie. The white folks lost it. They lost it. But that was as nice as I could be. That was the nicest way that I could put it.
That's a bar.
And the comparisons to MLK were crazy. Like, are
Mm.
y'all okay? Just, white America, are y'all okay?
So now I have to ask. I don't have to ask, but I am going to. Yeah, because we ain't talked about a lot of much, you know.
Mhm.
So this FBA movement, Foundational Black American Delineation, and FBA over here, Pan Africans over here, quote unquote. Your thoughts as an African woman on this situation, and
I
one who
think
is a caregiver, one who is a caregiver on a multitude of levels. Has this discussion hit your purview? You know, in therapy sessions or
it has.
academia,
It has, and
and
I have unpopular opinions about it as always. I feel like these folks try to divide us any way that they can.
mm,
And if they break us down into these smaller subgroups and pit us against each other, it pushes us further away from unification, further away from strength in numbers, because we're all looking at each other as separate. Because they
mm,
know that if black people were to just be black people and recognize each other as that and come together in unity as that, it'll be a problem. So they have to go in and sow these little seeds of discord so that we can't get along and we can't come together and we can't work together. The whole diaspora wars and all of these different black groups, and some people said they don't want to be called black, some people said they're not African American, they're Solani, or they're this and they're that. You're black. At the end of the day, you're a black person, you're a melanated being, and if we recognize that and use that to our advantage, a lot of the things that we had to deal with these last couple of years we wouldn't have had to deal with. And so I'm not a fan of when they come out with these different groups and these different, it's it's divisiveness just disguised as unification, and I don't like that because it's kind of like, watch what I'm doing over here so you don't see what I'm doing over here. I'm not
Mm.
really into that. So when they start talking about these different groups and these different titles and different labels, I don't really subscribe to all of that. If you black, you're a decent person and you for black people, I'm for you. That's how I look at it. If you black and you're not a decent person and you're not for black people, I put you in the same category that I do them pale face folks. But if you black and you for black people, and you my type of people. And I don't feel like I need to subscribe to a certain school of thought or be in a certain group in order to prove that.
See?
I think it comes up for me more having an African parent
Mm.
because I hear the misconception all the time that Africans don't like African Americans. Africans don't
Mm.
like Black Americans. And that's just not completely true. Now, are there some, especially older Africans, that don't have the nicest things to say about Black Americans? Absolutely. But where's the lie? They don't lie on us. They just have a different view on the lifestyle than us. If you're talking to somebody who's been working in fields since they could walk, compared to a grown man who sits around and plays video games all day, and that person that's worked in fields their whole life says, "Oh, he's lazy." He is. Where's the discrepancy there? He has
Mm.
every right to feel that way. If he's gotten up at the crack of dawn every day since he was a toddler to work in the fields and provide for his family, and all you did was play Call of Duty the last 20 years, he has every right to feel like you're lazy. That's not an African versus African American thing. That is a working versus lazy thing. But because we have that colonizer mindset, some of us, it turns into a diaspora war. It turns into a war of the different subsets of Black people and causes a whole lot of division.
Is there a way that we see those things? And if there's a way to see those things, is there a way to repel those sentiments? Because they're shared on both sides.
I think on both sides, we need to commit to learning more about each other. Because on my end, I can remember being a little girl and not wanting to wear traditional African clothing because I didn't want to be picked at. I didn't want to be misunderstood. It was almost like they looked down on you for having a culture. And that's because
Mm.
that's what they were taught. But I feel like if we were to dedicate more time to getting to know each other and acknowledge that the differences between us weren't caused by us, it would take us a whole lot further because we're not as different as we try to make each other out to be. African food, if you look at my Ethiopian plate versus my soul food plate, it looks exactly the same. One of them's just smashed up. It's the exact same
Mm.
food. It's still collard greens. It's still barbecue chicken. It's still, macaroni and cheese. But Ethiopians mash our food up because it's easier to digest. It's easier to come out. It's healthier for your body. But it's the exact same food. Just call it something else.
Mhm.
We're not really all that different. And I think that if we took more time to get to know about each other, that it wouldn't be all of this discourse.
Mr. Baldwin, your turn, man.
So, speaking of the diaspora awards, how do you feel about some of the Africans and some of the Black people in the UK that say that or feel that African Americans don't have a culture? See, you told me bring some questions. I brought some questions now. But no, how do you feel about them feeling as though we don't have a culture? Because some of them stand 10 toes on that. Like they think we're
Yeah,
completely
I
devoid
think
of any
that
culture.
I think that that talking point is something that continues to be recycled from one generation to the next based off of that very essence, right? You could say, okay, black people in America, African people in America don't have a culture, and you listening to hip hop, right? You're listening to hip hop and you're trying your best to be a black dude in America. Like you're trying your best from every aspect of that. From every aspect of the way in the space of entertaining. Now, these things happen devoid of a culture. Black people's culture in America, you died because you were representing your culture. This is the only place on the planet you can't. There's no crime. You're not an African identity extremist. It's not a federal charge. The government's not looking for you for being too African, unless you know you're an African president. You know they
Mhm.
assassinated quite a few of them.
Of
Uh,
course.
they do take you out in that space.
Yeah.
But black identity extremists is still a federal charge. They will kick in your door and lock you up for being too black. You can't never be too white in America. You know,
Mhm.
so even in the aspect in regards to culture, a culture of resistance, a culture of disruption, a culture that is contrary to the corporatism that exists here, is met with extreme violence unto death. One of the things that I've said and I've always said, being black in America is a crime and is punishable by death. Got 400 years of evidence.
Mhm.
So for you to be an outsider and be looking, right, and to be looking from a place like the UK, where black people from America have gone over and helped to establish and fight for culture in that space, is very funny to me, right? So if you look at Al Haj Malik Al Shabazz, Father Wali, affectionately known to the world as Minister Malcolm X, how many trips you made over there to the UK? So your consciousness has been shaped and molded by these influences that come from a place, and then you would look at the same place after you profited and say, "Oh, they don't have any culture.
Mhm.
They don't have any culture," and don't think that we're not aware of the caste system slash class system of you in the UK.
Right.
You have the African in the UK who doesn't think that they're African; they think that they're British. So if you are a African person and your parents are from the Caribbean, you're in the highest state after the person who's British, because the person who's British, who thinks they're British, is supposed to be top tier in that society. Then you have the Caribbean, and then you have the people from Africa. And ask them how they treat those ones that come from West Africa, that come over there, how the black people treat them, how they socialize them, and how they play the same diasporan wars with the mother continent. You understand? Like, so there's subsects in regards to these defects and these breakdowns in regards to these categorizations in proximity to European ideology and value. I think that's the breakdown and the disconnect that kind of addresses it all. So your proximity to whiteness, right? So to be called an American over here, do you know you were hung for trees to be, trying to call yourself an American, trying to, you know, participate in the rights, lights, and benefits, voting, you were hung from trees, were drugged from the back of pickup trucks and cars. Uh, Military service, you were hung in your uniform. You understand? Like, so when we start to look at this proximity to whiteness in this regard, we have to understand what it means to call yourself British, what it means to call yourself an American. It comes with a hefty price and sacrifice that you're not really truly aware of, not truly aware of anymore. So it's like, all right, I'm calling myself this, or I'm identify. You can identify however you wish to identify. People calling themselves cats. You understand what I'm saying? And they
Right.
identify as cat. I don't have any qualms with that. But be you not in spite of someone else. You know what I'm saying? Like I know Moors, Christians, Muslims, atheists, all those kinds of people. They are who they are. You understand? And I am who I am. And we don't have any disconnects. We don't have any issues. The issue comes in when you are a threat to black people, black men, black women, and especially black children. That's where we go. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care how you identify yourself.
Mhm.
You become a target. You understand? So in essence, with this no culture type of situation, I think these virtual talking points become recycled, and every once in a while they come back into review. They come back into review.
Right.
So wherever you are, you have to know who you are and whose culture you're living out and whose flag you're pledging allegiance to in that regard. So I think that we could do a better job, as you spoke of, Doc, earlier, of knowing one another to erase some of these things. 'Cause I think that uh, the movies played a pivotal role in shaping the mind of presenting us as only drug dealers and thugs and criminals. You understand what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? So we associated with criminality, and the music you add that. And I think that the National Geographic aspect over here played a pivotal role in cannibalizing and dehumanizing African life and culture. You see what I'm saying? So you put them together. Now you got a tug of war. Same people looking at one another and at war with one another, based off of some uh, creative imagery and some recycled talking points that had never been ironed out, that are rooted in stress, strife, pain, and trauma and drama. So
So
hopefully
I
I ain't
think
say.
that the media definitely plays a huge part in how we view each
Mhm,
other, more than what people want to acknowledge. I think
mhm,
that me having a front row seat to both sides of it, I hear what the Africans in my family say, I hear what the Americans in my family say. And some of it I can agree with on both sides, and other sides I have to point out, like, hey, you're wrong about this. But if we take a step back and we look at how Black Americans, I'll say Black American women specifically, are presented overseas, they see
mhm,
baddie baddie shot o'clock. They see half naked rappers. They see, you know, Black women being presented in a very hood rat, low class type of way. And that may
mhm,
be their only view into Black American women. And so that's the kind of stereotype that they develop and they accept about us. But on the flip side, when you ask Black Americans about Africans and if you would want to go and live back in Africa or what Africans are like, the media has presented this jungle bush people type of image. I can remember telling a man I was Ethiopian and he was like, "You ain't dark enough to be Ethiopian." You must
Mm.
have never seen an Ethiopian. I look like a stereotypical Ethiopian. The
Right,
forehead, the big eyes, I got it all. Like
right,
I look
right.
like an Ethiopian. So for him to say that and for him to assume that because of a character he literally saw on South Park, he thought that
Mm,
Ethiopians were very dark and that we were starving and that we needed 17 cents a day to feed our
mm,
babies. That's the kind of imagery that they force on us. So the ones here don't want to go there, and the ones over there don't want to come here because they have this misconception of each other. Where if we took the middleman out and said, put a pause on the media and let's actually get to know each other, we wouldn't feel that way. I think African culture is what we call cultivated culture. This is something that's passed down from generation to generation because you're able to, because you can trace back your lineage that far, because y'all was the ones that got away. Your bloodline wasn't interrupted by slavery. Whereas for Black Americans, our culture had to be created. We had to start from scratch. We had to take remnants of what we remembered from home and create something completely new. And so I think the respect is lost in that. I don't think Africans respect the fact that African Americans will create some shit. They, with nothing, will turn it into something. And so I
mm.
think I hope in the future, and I hope by the time that my children are older, that we'll be past that and that we'll know a lot more about each other and they won't have to deal with the identity issues or the tug of war that I had to deal with coming up.
100% right there. 100%. And I think more we have to find more qualified people to speak on certain things. You put a microphone in front of anybody, they're just gonna say whatever they know or they don't know. You understand what I'm saying? So they're folks who they've been asking these people, artfully so, not rightfully so, artfully so, and strategically so. They know who to ask. You know, they know who to
Right.
ask.
Your
So you ask
turn.
the the African American question culture. I think that was the
I
last.
had to ask, man. I had to ask. I had to do it for both cultures one time for the one time.
The I'll go to the therapy round real quick. One example of something that you see in therapy among people that's repeated from the last time we did this, because we did this in 2024. And one thing that came up in 2024 that might have been prominent that didn't make it into 2025 so much.
Something that's carried over from 24 to 25 is these therapy buzzwords. These people
Mm.
watch TV and they scroll through Facebook and they learn words like a narcissist and
Oh,
gaslighting and things like
oh,
that. And all of a sudden they got a PhD. I'm like, let me do my job. I got this. But the buzzwords have carried over where people are diagnosing other people with
mm,
these disorders like narcissism when they truly don't even know what the definition of it is. You can't diagnose somebody off of a Facebook meme. Let the professionals do our jobs. Now, something that did not carry over, I feel like, did not carry over as much because it's still there, but it's not as prevalent from 24 to 25, is that I see more Black people going to therapy. I
mm,
think that the stigma of therapy being for white folks is slowly dying out. I got definitely way more people of color, not just Black people, but brown people, Native people. I got way more clientele of melanated people this year than I have in the past 10 years. And
mm,
so I think we are breaking a lot of the stigmas where people are thinking, oh, that's a white people thing. We just gonna pray about it, or we just gonna tough it out. We just gonna keep pushing through. People are actually trying to get help now. So that's probably one of the biggest differences.
That's wonderful, especially with somebody who's qualified to look at our issues, you know,
Mhm.
and have an understanding versus, you know, one of these monkeys
Mhm.
out here
I encourage
stopping
people
the
to
show.
get you a therapist that looks like you.
Right.
And that's not to say that, oh, a Caucasian therapist can't help a Black woman. I'm not saying that by any means. However, there's going to be a disconnect somewhere along the line, because even though that Caucasian woman is going to have the same, maybe educational training that I had, she doesn't have that Black experience. And so if you hop on a Zoom session with me and you running late and you got your bonnet on and you still getting dressed and you yelling at the kids in the background, I'm completely unfazed and unbothered by that, because I understand that's part of the Black experience. I'm a Black mama. I know how that goes. So if you're talking to me in your therapy session and you have to turn around and yell, man, sit your ass down, girl, do your thing, handle them kids, and then we'll get back to it. A white woman's not going to understand that. And so I feel like your therapist, even as a Black man, I feel like your therapist needs to look like you. I think that that's the most effective way to heal, because you get the full scope of healing, the education and the experience. I can help you because I am you. I know where you're coming from. And I don't feel like a Caucasian therapist is capable of doing that. So that's my advice. If you're going to seek therapy, find you a therapist that looks like you.
That's a fact. That is a fact, and it's true.
So my turn, my turn. What is, and I don't even know if you can answer this question because you're so passionate when it comes to Black music and hip hop in particular, but what was one thing in hip hop culture, hip hop music that actually made you proud about 2025? Like one thing that you were like, yeah, that was it right there. Like I said, you a true hip hop head, so you so hard on these new
Killer
hip
Priest
hopsters.
an album. Yeah. Killer Priest came out with an album this year. Uh, a Breakfast 2. Both him and Ty Phoenix, they both came out with albums this year. And both of those albums, they made me proud. You know, they made me proud. And to be able to facilitate a celebration of 10 years of Do Not Radio, and to have them in the same place, you know, to have them, to have Kai Zodiac, to have Kill Rifkin, to have Young Hump, to have Thurston Howard III, to have my brother Oba, you know, and to have so many people together, right, in one place, celebrating not only Do Not Radio 10 years, 4,000 episodes, but hip hop, righteous hip hop, not the BS hip hop. You understand what I'm saying? Like real hip hop. Hakeem Green Channel Live right there, like right there. You know what I'm saying? Like I did a podcast portion and Hakeem Green, I'm thinking I'm about to give me a little interview on the thing. Now he did a hip hop performance. I went from Dudenow's Radio to Arsenio Hall. You know what I'm saying? When Arsenio Hall I had to, you know what I mean? I had an Arsenio Hall moment that I had
Nothing wrong
prayed
with
for,
that.
right? So I'm like, oh, all right, we doing it like this. So it was a beautiful, beautiful experience, right? And their albums, you know, the albums that they came out with this year. Ty Phoenix, you know, EP was called it's called Crown Loads, you know, streaming on all streaming platforms. Go get it. And you know, Killer Priest, the Abraxas too. You see what I'm saying? It's streaming on all platforms, running up. They were healthy albums. They were healthy albums that went from the mystic to the projects. You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
From the high esoteric to the street corner. You know what I'm saying? In Ty Phoenix, we went from download. I got to download. Everybody's talking downloads to crown load. You see what I'm saying? To crown loads, high vibrational hip hop, and creating these epicenters where we're requiring more from the artist and from the art form. If you're going to continue to be in this genre, you can't keep pushing poison and death and devastation and all of this foolishness where you're degrading yourself, where you're degrading black women, where you're degrading black children, because those are the people you're talking about.
Hmm.
You're not talking about your real opposition in any kind of way. And if you do, you apologize about it publicly. So,
Right.
you know, the hip hop made me proud in that way because there's still real hip hop out here that speaks to social ills and social issues and not tongue in cheek with it. Very direct and bold. So yeah, definitely, I had a moment to be able to bring people together from all places that been trying to get together for years. So they're all there in one spot, and the onlookers are from all over the world. Hip hop became the leopard that can change its spots.
Right.
It can camouflage in a way. So you don't know what hip hop looks like and who hip hop is anymore because of the admixture that is being done in a way where everybody needs that. Everybody needs that spark in their mind. You know what I'm saying? Supreme black intelligence in hip hop. And
And I miss that kind of music that made you go look up some stuff or made
right,
you want to learn some stuff. I can
right.
remember being young and hearing Wu Tang and listening
Hmm.
to the way that Method Man talked and the way that RZA talked. And I was like, what these dudes talking about? So I had to go sit at the feet of the OGs and learn my supreme mathematics and get my little one too. Cause I was like, I have no idea what they talking about, but it sound good. So I had to go and learn those things. And to me, that that was that spark that I needed to
Hmm.
kind of step outside of my bubble, step outside of black suburbia where I was and say, okay, it's more to it than that. Like God, I want to learn more of this. You couldn't listen to Cal. You couldn't listen to, them talk about all of these things that Wu-Tang talked about and not want to know more and not want to look into it. And
Hmm.
we don't have music like that. I have not heard a rap song in so long that made me want to look into something. Like in any genre of music, not just rap and hip hop, but you don't feel anything from the music now. Like unless you are knowledgeable of certain like lesser known or underground artists that still carry that type of vibe, the mainstream stuff that most of these kids are introduced to, they don't feel anything from that. And I hate that kind of music. I detest it. Um, I won't, I don't know who you'll interview in the future, so I won't name any names, but I will say there are some new artists that I have absolutely no idea what the song is about. I can listen to the song on repeat 10 times and I still can't tell you what the young man was talking about. Can't even tell you what he said half the time because he's so drugged out and mumbling through the song. I don't even know what he said. So I hate that for the kids because they don't get that influence that we had. They don't have somebody like a Tupac that made these socially conscious songs like Brenda's Got a Baby, but could turn around and make a song like Hit 'em Up. They didn't have that diversity. They
Hmm.
had these boxes they put people in. They put people like Kendrick Lamar in a box and said, oh, he's conscious. And then when he come out with lyrical bullets aimed at somebody, it's like, oh no, the conscious rapper is going wild. Like they don't have the influence that we have had when we were growing up. And I think that's unfortunate.
I think that their maladies are different. You know, art morphs, right? Art imitates life, life imitates art. It is a dance. So they have what rap was before. Everything that came out, around the Sugar Hill Gang era wasn't conscious. The
Right.
message was conscious. Melly Mel had the message, but Melly Mel also had white lines. What was he talking about? You understand what I'm saying? So there there are for them to have the vibe, it's the vibe, catch a vibe. They have their own party version of what they have and how they communicate. So their freedom of expression is being morphed in their manner, right? So they're talking to their peer group. And when I speak to most of them, they said when we want to think, we listen to y'all music. But when we want to turn up, we listen to this right here. So they even have a space within themselves where they have categories. It's like, nah, I don't want to think right now. I just want to be gone. I just want to, that space to feel numb or forget the world, whatever the case may be. But when I want to get introspective, when I want to get deep, when I want to know about this, that, I go to this. You understand what I'm saying? So many of them have expressed that, right? Many of them have expressed that. That's not a broad brush to paint everybody, but many of them have expressed that. And they have the benefit of music at their fingertips, right? We had to go find it. We had to sneak and listen to it. It wasn't accessible all of the times of the days of the nights and all that. We might have to listen over here, make a tape, a pause tape over here, whatever the case may be, to have it in our possession 24/7. But they have it. They don't have to do anything for it. And these execs and some of these uh, low people and low, dusty, dirty ass, disgusting ass places are benefiting off of it, and they're trying their best to uh, make us look at our children in disgust and our grandchildren in disgust when we should be looking at these nasty bastards in disgust because they're
Mhm.
not putting this out on their own. You understand? It's being okayed, it's being quality controlled, and it's being mass produced. So,
Mhm.
again, if that's how you sticking them up, stick them up. All right, make them pay, but understand that there's something attached to now. You've taken on a different kind of spirit, so there has to be a counterbalance. The difference between the poison, what they say, the poison and the medicine is the dosage, right?
Mhm.
So there's a bunch of Wu Tang records. You understand what I'm saying? That's out there. I'll use Wu Tang for instance. Where I was like, yo, what is this shit? You understand what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, what is this? Like, this ain't for the babies. It's
Right.
there's too much nose candy shit going on over here. You understand what I'm saying? But there's other aspects of it in regards to what it is, because you get all aspects of a person in the being. So you might be known over here for this, uh, but you have to be able to grow with those parts of yourself, right? You know, uh, DMX was one of the greatest examples. You understand what I'm saying? You're going to get a prayer on the album. You're going to get a powerful prayer. You're going to get a powerful prayer that's going to transform you and lift you up and take you to places that you never thought you were going to go. But you're going to get some other DMX. You understand what I'm saying? Throughout
Right.
the album. So you have to be able to, see what this is in that regard. So yeah, for the young people and their music, they have their own form of expression. They got more of the Basquiat than we might think. You understand what I'm saying in regards to that? So they're artistically creative, and I think that it needs to be cultivated and supported with more evidence in regards to how you want your music and the things that are associated with you to be around long term. Short term is okay, but 1,000 years from now, when somebody finds your music and that's all they have of you, they don't know you, they don't know what you've been through, they don't know where you're from. How do you want that to be represented? Do you still want it in this fashion? If so, okay, but if not, you can grow. You can always grow as an artist. Um,
Agreed. Agreed. I think that for me, my kids know the old school songs. Like
mhm.
Cairo's only 3, and if I put on some Bone Thugs, if I put on some Rakim, My baby know the words from the start to
Mm,
finish. Um, I don't really let him listen to a lot of the new stuff unless it's more edited, just because I'm not really fond of the
mhm.
content. But I had one of my nephews on Christmas Day. He's been calling himself everything has got to be retro. His clothes got to be retro. The music got to be retro. I don't know what that's about. I don't consider my generation to be retro, but I guess. But he came to me and
The
he's like,
1900s now, okay? We was
and
born in the
he definitely
1900s.
Kimani
Okay.
definitely told me I was born in the 1900s. He came to me and he's like, "Yo, TT, I listened to this rapper from back in your day, and he was so dope." I was like, "Really? What was his name?" He was like, "Chris One." I was like, "Who?" Chris One. You don't know Chris One? I'm about to put you on, TT. I'm about to put. He was talking about KRS One, but it just blew my
Right.
mind because, for one, how did you even find him? What rabbit hole did you go down on TikTok that led you to KRS One at 9? But Chris One is crazy. But he was excited about it. He was like, "I don't know what some of this stuff mean that he talking about, but I googled some of it." I was like, "Oh,
Mm.
that's that spark that's missing that we don't have now." But all right, it's your turn. We could talk about hip hop all day, but
All
your
day, every
turn,
day.
sir.
Twice on Sunday, right?
Mm.
Um, I guess we got to go to the retired category, right? What are two things that you are personally retiring in 2025, and then a collective thing that we need to retire in 2025, going into 2026.
Something that I am personally retiring this year, I would say some of my defensiveness about certain things. Um,
Mm,
Things that I'm really passionate about, things that I'm really knowledgeable about. I kind of like get really defensive when people misquote or misspeak on those things. And this year, I made it a point to be a bit more understanding that
mm,
not everybody has the same understanding. That perspective is real to people. And they may genuinely see it that way or genuinely feel that way. So just as much as I know I'm right, they feel like they know they're right too. And so I think just my communication style and becoming less defensive when I'm speaking to people who may have a different view or a different approach to things. As far as something that we as a people need to retire, man, it's a lot. I think probably one of the things that irked me the most about not just 2025, but the last couple of years is every summer, these pink toes come out with some kind of alcoholic concoction that takes over the Black community.
mm.
Whether it's all the way back to Four Locos to cut waters to every year is some kind of concoction that takes over the Black community and has them acting a complete fool. Don Julio needs to be banned in the United States. It needs to be, they need to do a talk screen on that stuff and figure out what the hell secret hood rat Powerpuff Girl ingredient are they putting in this Don Julio, because it takes a civilized woman and turns her into a whore immediately. Like, what is in this bottle? So I want us to retire these concoctions and these potions that we've been drinking every year. Every single year around June, it never fails. They come out with a new one. And it's never something as simple as, oh, this is a new liquor, or oh, this is a new wine. It's like a liquor slash wine slash energy drink slash coffee that they just threw some shit in and shook it up and was like, here, drink this. So yeah, I want us to retire that. Just drink normal alcoholic beverages if you must, like civilized people. Quit drinking this sewer water that they keep giving y'all. That's turning y'all into mutants. I don't have time for it.
Sewer water.
is off. Like I don't drink, so I try not to come across as too judgmental for people that do. I don't drink just for personal health and wellness reasons, not because I'm just against it morally or ethically, but I choose not to. But just being the sober person, sitting back and watching the transformation that a person goes through before Don Julio and after, before Cutwater and after, it is so drastic. Like they need to study that stuff.
Mm. Retire Don Julio in 2025. That's
Absolutely.
what
If I
the
see
message
one
said.
more young black woman with a bottle of Don Julio on top of her head, I'm gonna scream. Like, what are y'all doing? What is that about? Let's see. In 2025, what do you feel like was the most controversial moment in the black community? Like what had everybody up in arms in 2025?
Everything. Whatever white folks say that day, you know, they lost their mind for everything. Okay.
Agreed.
Cat Williams is 2024, right?
You said what now?
Cat Williams, that Shay Shay episode was
Yeah, I think that
2024,
was the
right?
end of 2024 or either the very beginning of 25. Either way, he opened some kind of portal and things just went downhill since then. Like,
I can't
don't you
even
talk to
remember.
Shannon Sharp ever again in your life, Cat. Like, never, because shit hit the fan after that.
Right, right.
But it's cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance will cause a person to become enraged if you tell them something that goes against what they've believed or what they've been taught their entire life. Something in your brain literally just breaks and goes, ah, this is not what I thought it was. And you have a full blown meltdown. You can't, that's what I try to tell a lot of my woke brothers and sisters. I try to tell a lot of my 5%ers, don't give them too much. Like, I understand you want to feed the people, you want to teach the people, you want to, educate them, but you cannot give this generation of people too much info and too much enlightenment at one time. They will tweak the hell out. And I think Cat came into the space and he laid too much truth on the table. And people's cognitive dissonance started to deactivate their critical thinking and they just started losing it. And so I think we need to be a little bit more mindful and a little bit more careful about what we put on public platforms. And some stuff is for us by us. And just because Shannon Sharp is a black man on the outside does not mean, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. I don't feel like that was the right platform for him to put it out there on because a lot of white people watch that too. And then he went on I think the Joe Rogan show and started talking to people about the Anunnaki and all this comedic science. So what are you doing? Like, what did you? Why are you giving him the Krabby Patty formula like that? That's not the place to discuss that. Find our platforms. Go, come on, do the knowledge radio and talk that talk.
Yeah,
Don't do
come on over here.
that. Don't do that on the colonizer radio stations. For me,
Yeah,
I think the
some.
most controversial thing that kept coming up for me was Beyonce. I think the white folks lost their mind when it came to Beyonce this year. They were pissed. And I loved every last minute of it. I was so excited about the level of festivity that I got to see white people get to when it came to Beyonce. Um, and I admire her as an artist, not just because she's a good singer or a good dancer, My admiration for her as an artist comes from the little Easter eggs that Beyonce drops, the knowledge that she subtly drops that if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. That's what I
Mm,
mean by some stuff is just for us. She lays it out there, but you got to piece it together. And she knows that the white folks ain't going to take the time to try to piece that together. So it's okay for her to lay those little gems in her albums and her performances and the symbolism and posts that she makes. For example, we all know that Black people created country music. It was a big debate this year.
mhm,
Me being a Southern woman, I like country music. I like trail rides. That's my culture. But she wanted to take this genre of music and make it Black again. And she went so far as to dropping Easter eggs like she posted a photo before her Super Bowl performance of of Black people standing up on these white horses. They're these beautiful white horses. I forget the proper name for them, but they're these beautiful white horses. And she had these Black people standing up on the backs of these horses as she was walking by. And the picture just went viral because it was such a beautiful picture. But if you look deeper at it, the type of horse that it is born Black and turns white as it
mm,
gets older. And so she was letting you know this country shit was Black. It just turned white over time. And so little things like that, I
mhm,
appreciate an artist that can drop nuggets like that. I appreciate an artist that has an attention to detail like that. And so I think that the white folks were hot. They were hot when she got that album of the year. Oh yeah, they were hot, and I loved it. So I think, as far as pop culture goes, that was definitely one of the most controversial because it's almost like they couldn't keep that cool. The country artists lost it on social media and let their racism slip out. The even politicians and news anchors, they could not hide the bigotry anymore. They might as
mm.
well have got on there and said that Black bitch did this. Like they might as well have
Oh,
done that because it just all came seeping out. So that was definitely a controversial moment for me in 2025.
yeah. I think on the side note, your breakdown on sinners, both here and in class, was one of my dopest memories of 2025. Okay, um, you took something that was good and you made it very great
I
on a
appreciate that.
multitude of levels. You know, uh,
That was a fun breakdown to
something.
do.
Yeah, it was dope. It was dope to incorporate a lot of things that were missed
Mhm.
and a lot of things that had the potential to be greater. Because now we cousins had me in the that was in my vernacular
Mhm.
2025. Now we cousins.
I
Okay.
think Ryan Coogler does a good job of giving us those one-liners that are just so Black that
Mm.
nobody else gets it. Like even in the first Black Panther, when Killmonger walks in and says, "Hey, Auntie," Black
Hey,
people
auntie.
lost it.
Yeah.
Like that was hilarious to us, and I could see white people in the theater like, "What's the joke? We missed it." But he does things like that when he has these moments that are very quick, and if you're not Black, it won't resonate with you. And I like that because how many times have we had to watch white films where things didn't resonate with us? And so I like that he puts those little nuances into his works where you got to be a certain level of melanated to get it. I think Sinners just was blackety black, 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 and I loved everything about it. Like, I mean, there was nothing whitewashed about Sinners, even the white folks in Sinners didn't like white folks. So I was cool with Sinners and how it turned out.
Yeah.
But I will say if they don't get any awards at the beginning of the year, something's rigged for sure. There's no way this movie should make it through 2026 without getting some highest honors. Like I'm speaking Oscars and all like that. From the movie to the soundtrack to the costume design, somebody got to win something, or we gonna know that was blatant racism.
Yeah, I think that I think like I was saying before, you know, the Black Panther series, I was like, mm, part one and part two, I was like, you know, except for Inchidaka made it something, you know, uh, in part one and part two, but that was like, so when the Woman King came out, like Black Adam came out, and then you know the Woman King came out, I was like, okay, these movies are gonna be everything that Black Panther was not. So it's like, all right, this is how we dealt with the enemies of our people. Thank you. Right. So those were two aspects, right? Those were two aspects where it's like, all right, we're not doing the tongue in cheek type of situation. And then they had the insult to injury with the Infinity Wars and they fighting on Wakanda for the fate of the universe and all that. I was like, yeah, another pillage scene where we doing this one more time, right? Now we bringing aliens into to pillage over here. Where we at? You understand what I'm saying? Like these bastards ain't enough. We're gonna have some other people, but anyway, that part right there, and then with the Woman King, right? With the Woman King, I just wanted to know. I was like, are they going to show it? Are they going to show it? Like, all I wanted to know is, are they going to show it, right? Because Black Adam, you know, he's putting in some work. You understand what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, I appreciate that, but I'm like, are they going to show it? So when the Nesca came with them chains and was swinging them joints, and wrapped nobody up, I stood up in the movie theater and rejoiced. You understand what I'm saying? It was like, all right. Then the brothers beat up boy and left him limp in the water. So I was like, man, I was like, it was perfect. Like that was perfect. That was perfect to see everybody on one accord in that space. Like I don't care what you tried to do. There's certain things that you can't do once you're in the presence. You understand what I'm saying? So it was
Right.
like, I'm like, yeah, it might look like they did this, but they ain't do it. They ain't do this. They did not do this right here. They couldn't be responsible for this right here. If it was relegated to them, it just would have looked like this. No, you couldn't have been in that presence, and you wanted something authentic, and you got something very, very, very authentic. So when it translated into sentence, I was like, "Come on, son, you owe me one, you owe
Hmm.
me one." You owe me one thing. I mean, like, oh, told you. If you brought your ass back over here, tell you where you stand. And I said, "Ooh, Lord, look at. I'm telling you, won't you do it now?" I was like, "This is it. This is what I needed to see. This is what I needed to see. I didn't need to see everything else. I needed to see that right there. Everything else was cool, okay, fine, but nah, this I told your ass, don't bring your ass over here, and you did,
Hmm.
and you did." And I was like,
Well,
"This is perfect."
let me get your take on this because for me, Sinners was vindication for Ryan Coogler. I
Mm,
think that when they tapped into him for Black Panther, even though Black Panther was marketed as a black movie with black characters, it's still a Marvel movie. And
right.
so he still didn't have full creative control over that movie. He still had to kind of do what them folks told him to do. I think he was able to slide some things in, mainly probably because they didn't catch on or didn't understand it. But
Mm,
he still had to play by the rules. And I think with Sinners, he had solidified himself as a director so much so that he didn't have to play by anybody's rules. He could tell the story how he wanted to. So for me, how you say Woman King is what Black Panther was supposed to be. I feel like Sinners is what Black Panther was supposed to be. I feel like Black Panther, if presented in an empowering way, that T'Challa and Jadaka would have looked a whole lot like Smoke and Stack. The dynamic would have kind of been the same. If you think about it, their temperaments are very alike. One's a hothead, one's cool and calm and collected. I think that was Ryan's way of saying, I can do this and I can tell this story my way. I don't have to cooperate and save the white boy at the end of the movie like I had to in Black Panther. And Sinners, no, kill all of them. Like, I think that was his vindication.
I could agree. I could agree. Um, there was a scene in the first Black Panther. Black Panther could have been good in 4 scenes and it could have been over with. You understand what I'm saying? It was like 3 or 4 scenes that was in there that was dope, and it. You understand what I'm saying? When Inchidaka rolled up to Wakanda with that monkey and that sheet and just presented it, that was perfect, right? You know, the British Museum, perfect. There was case in the bank, it was perfect. You understand? When he took the throne and those planes went out, they could have cut it off. Leave it. You can leave it to the imagination. If it's just a movie, you can leave it to the imagination. It's like, all right, yo, this happened. All right. Part two, they could have brought him back and it was like, oh, I thought he was dead. He ain't dead, and blah blah blah. And then they put that thing together where his heart not hardened no more. It's opened up, and then okay, we worked your way and we worked this way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could have been amenable to that, but to have this and then it's like, all right, the leader of the Jabari tribe get beat up twice. Like he got beat up in this in film, and then he ain't even compare in the other film. I was like, ah man, like he roughhousing black people, but over here he don't even get close. Like he ain't even on the like it just didn't make any sense to me, right? It didn't make any sense in regards to that. And then that divide is already there. So this is another anchor. You see what I'm saying? So uh with the Woman King in particular, there was a divide, but it was a divide that was addressed. The the homie was there at the behest of the king. So they forsook everything else that came along with that, right? So this is where the Dora Milaje came from, but they didn't present it in that manner, right? So they're showing this right here in regards to how balance is maintained in this environment, right? So the men they could have families, but the women they didn't. But there was a center of power respected that came along with that was presented with the men. You know what I'm saying? So uh, when the general went for her daughter, she running by herself. Next thing you know, the squad running with her. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody like why we gotta go and this and none of that. Nobody is asking any questions. You understand? So when she rolled out, they rolled with her. You know what I mean? And she went and put it on. And then when she came back, the king ain't ousted her and cast her to the side. It bona fide her way more qualified to be the one that the center of balance for the people. You know what I'm saying? For the future, right? So what that would look like if that was Shaka Zulu and his mother in real life. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like that kind of thing where they presented it like it was a one off and it was a back and forth type of situation. When it mattered, none of that mattered. Everybody was on one accord all the way down to making sure that them slavers was done in. You understand what I'm saying? It was like burn everything. I was like, ha! You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? So the institution of it, and then uh, with what's his name, John Boyega, was his statement at the end of the film in regards to that sort of mindset that embraces from the continent throughout the diaspora was something that was a uh, profound sort of speech, whether they wrote it or he said it or whatever the sentiments was, you felt every word of it coming
Mhm.
from him. And because of his stance in real life and how he's been demonized because of that stance. You understand what I'm saying? So that was a beautiful sort of space that was captured in Sinners as well. You know, we went through that, we talked about that. That sort of love, that sort of care, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't obscene, it wasn't perverse. It was presented in an authentic manner, indiscriminate of what the other elements were in regards to it. So something very authentic, something very authentic, something very cultural. So that's why I'm saying I agree with the sentiments because, it was a beautiful story to be told by an old man at the end of his days, right? That he's been telling this story so much, that's why it's so clear. And then lo and behold, it walks in the door. You're like,
Right.
oh, I thought you was tripping, old man. Like this real. It's
It gonna
real.
make me go pull it up and watch it again.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a beautiful story that's told, and I believe that that synergy that exists in real life between Ryan Coogler and his wife
Mhm.
translated on the screen where they could tell a story finally in regards to this one in my corner type of situation versus, you know, and I think he did that with Creed as well. You understand what I'm saying? Like the care that is taken in regards to addressing things that happen in real life righteously versus that other part. So I think that he did the job that was necessary in the films that he did. Like he humanized the brother that the police killed in the train station. You see what I'm saying? The football station. Like he humanized him. He gave him a life. He didn't utilize those last 24 hours of his life to demonize him, but to
Right.
humanize him. So he had those elements to where he did that, and then these other aspects, I think, that were kind of out of his, like you were saying, out of his control. But the stories that are there that are real uh, in regards to how we are, I think he captured them well. I just wasn't feeling that other that other aspect. Like now, they vanquish their enemies, and they show them as brutal and as graphic as possible. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I don't think we need to slip because we do the same thing with ours, whether they look like us or not. You understand? So
Agreed. I don't even know if it's your turn or my turn.
right. I think it's yours. I think it's yours.
um, so we'll briefly touch on the politics of it all. Um,
I was waiting. Either you or I was gonna go there. I'm prepared.
so just specifically speaking, because the whole Trump presidency is a hot ass mess. But what are your thoughts as far as the Epstein files? Do you feel as though they're not releasing them because they are protecting President Trump specifically? Or do you feel like it's like a house of cards thing where it's a lot of players involved? And if they actually release them the way that they're supposed to, things will come tumbling down.
I think that monkey that is running the show right now doesn't care about it. The Joker is in the White House right now. You know what I'm saying? So um, he doesn't follow scripts too well.
Mhm.
He does answer to people, but he doesn't follow scripts too well. So that scene in the Dark Knight where he got that money and it looked like the capstone of the pyramid and he burns the money to the ground. And
Mhm.
Alfred tells Batman, some people just want to see the world burn.
Mhm.
That's the kind of mind that is inhabiting that space. So if the Epstein file situation is something that he could use as a bargaining chip, he will. And he will cash it in because he comes from the realm of corporatism. He doesn't come from the realm of politics.
Mhm.
And he's heavily influenced by the entertainment industry because that was his industry, hospitality and entertainment. So, you can't be running around with Vince McMahon and watch him go from Vince McMahon to Mr. McMahon and don't think that, you know, uh, whoever this guy is, whatever his real name is, can't assume a moniker and become a character.
Mhm.
And I think that he has the, he does it well. The detriment of that kind of information is you might be affiliated, working for with somebody in partnership some kind of way, and don't know that you're running around with some sort of trafficker to this regard. You see what I'm saying? You might be embedded in business with somebody from, whatever these things are. But if we know anything about the institution of America, how was it established? What was being done? Where are those files? They're trying to tell you that those files don't exist no more. There's a group with a concerted effort to say, okay, this didn't happen or happened in reverse type of situation. So
Mhm.
who stands to benefit in those cases, right? So it's very interesting and very telling about the business of America, which is subjugation, oppression, devastation, sin, disease, and death, talking about one aspect and not its total sort of space in that regard. So yeah, I think if he could use it as a bargaining chip, and if the folks was actually wanted somebody to hear about the art of the deal in regards to reparation, this would be the monkey to throw the monkey wrench in the circus because again, he comes up in corporatism, where the real uh, in your face thieves are versus the
Mhm.
subversive, or we take it to committee and study and all this other BS. You understand what I'm saying? The tongue in cheek, they fund them, you know. They fund them so they answer and they're beholden to super PACs and lobbyists and all of these other backroom deals and all these other things, right? So in essence, the same people, right? So I don't think that there's a level of protection that actually could be had, but I think that there's a manipulation that could be utilized to sway one way or the other. And I think that this monkey trickster bastard, you understand what I'm saying? Will use this in this Constantine kind of manner. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
hey, I vanquished all these demons. Okay, can you forgive me? Type of situation.
Mhm.
My
On
thoughts.
you.
All right. Well, 2026. What is something that you are looking forward to uh, personally, professionally, and academically? I think that's three things in regards to taking what you do and what you've built to the next level that you can share. Because I ain't trying to get in your business.
So 2026 for me, I'm really looking forward to it. I'll have my very first graduating class from New Eden University.
Hey,
So that's something that I'm really proud of. And I know some of them are watching. So hey Lions in the comments. But um,
man.
that's something that's really exciting for me. Just seeing that come to fruition and seeing how hard they've worked and seeing, my efforts in creating that platform pay off. I'm really excited to see that. Um, Also, the books that I did release in 2025 are part of a series. So the next books will be coming out in the spring. And so I'm looking forward to that as well. Um, this one cat I know keeps pushing me to start a podcast. Like he been on my neck for like 2 years, like
God bless
about
him.
this.
Okay. God bless him.
And so I think that I am ready to move into that space in 2026. Um, the plan was to launch in 2025, but I didn't realize that the books and all of that was going to take up as much space and energy as it did. But definitely in 2026, I think I got some things to say. And so I'll be moving into that platform. Um, I'm just looking forward to progress. I'm looking forward to transition. I'm looking forward to, I see my students in the comments saying, go Lions. Uh, I'm just really looking forward to kind of pushing myself to see what else can I do. And not from an arrogant standpoint, but I feel like in the past few years, I've accomplished some things that I never saw myself accomplishing. So now I'm in this space of, okay, what I'm gonna do now? Like, go ahead, what I'm gonna hit them with next? And so I'm in that space of pushing myself and pushing my limits and seeing what else I can come up with.
What's the bomb? Okay. That is the bomb. I'm excited as well. Very excited for whatever's coming next. I ain't surprised if I see a movie, you know what I'm saying, or a mini series, you know what I'm saying, for
You
Rap
just
for me. You
never know,
understand?
man.
Man, like, it's dope. It's
You
dope, dope.
never know.
Different kind of dope. Man. So,
Like Miss Badu said, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. So
yeah.
I if I was to move it into um, a media format, if I was to do a movie or a television show, it would have to be done the right way or I wouldn't do it at all.
Mm,
Like it would have to be done in a way that I feel like was true to the story, was authentic to the tone that I had when I wrote the book. I wouldn't want them to whitewash anything. I wouldn't want them to try to water it down. If I can't do it this way, the way that it was intended to be done, then I just won't do it.
that is beautiful. Okay. So, final question. You got one, I got one.
Final question. What is next for Mr. Knowledge Born? What we doing in 2026? What can we look forward to seeing from you?
We outside. We
Oh, we
outside.
outside. Okay.
2026 to 2036. The next 10 years, we outside.
Okay.
This has been good. This has been fun. It'll still be in there, sprinkled in there, but we outside for the next 10 years. There's so many stories that are outside that need to be told, that need to be properly cultivated. There's so many young people's hands that need a hold of their destiny in so many ways. And we got a decade to reach them. From
Right.
my vantage point, we got a decade to reach them. So if they 10 now, they'll be 20. If they 15, they'll be 25. If they 25, they'll be 35. So we got a decade to reach them with intention, authenticity, and truth, and empower them in ways that they can take the reins and hold of their destiny and our future. You know, we look young, but we ain't young. You understand what I'm saying? We looking young, but they deserve an opportunity to be pushed to the forefront and guided and covered and protected by us. So you
Agreed.
know, it's time. It's time to be outside. Time to be active, interactive. You know, around the globe with our tomorrow people and sharing their stories and reshaping the narratives. All of those narratives that have been previously painted need to be destroyed. You know, the concepts that we were wedded to via plantation politics and plantation mentality needs to die. You know, we could give it a good send off. And we could arrange a second line for it for as long as it was. It was
Not the second
necessary.
line.
It was necessary for a time of safety, you know, and obscurity, but we're walking into a space that's going to require so much more from us, and we can't do it and maintain safety at the same time. So we have to reawaken that spark that disrupts and shifts paradigms righteously. And our young people have them. They have it in them, you know, and we have to equip them with the learned experience that come along, not the fear template, but the wisdom template. So 2026 for Knowledge Born Lie in the next 10 years is a war effort for those who are willing and those who are able to help with this paradigm shift and this narrative reclamation where we're proud of what we see, what we hear, and who we are. So
I can dig that.
that's
What's
my
your
short answer.
final question?
My final question in regards to the narrative associated with gentle parenting and de-escalation in the home, in the community, in the nation, and in the world. Reverend Dr. J and Husky's take on gentle parenting. Is it a us thing or is it a milk and magnesia thing? And you know, how could we better operate in the space of giving justice, law, order versus this other tyrannical Gestapo type of situation, an approach to ourselves, our people, our children, uh, as a whole.
I think that the black version of gentle parenting is not the same as the white version of gentle parenting. And it can't
Mm,
be because we are so very different in our makeup. Um, White people are able to gentle parent their children because their children haven't faced a lot of adversity. And so you can say, hey, Timmy, don't color on the walls. Mommy doesn't like that. And
mm,
Timmy's either going to listen or he's going to say, screw you, mom, I hate you. And he's going to keep coloring on your walls. One of the two is going to happen. Because Timmy's not used to people disagreeing with him. Timmy's not used to the world telling him he can't do something. And so the gentle parenting goes over sometimes a lot smoother for them because if they were to come in forcefully and aggressively, their children can't handle that. They're not equipped for
mm,
that. Now, my children, I'm not one for physical punishment just because it's my preference. It's not necessarily something that I'm just wholeheartedly against, but for my preference on my children, I don't hit them. Now, the way that I talk to them, though, if
uh,
somebody on the outside looking in was to hear some of the conversations that I have with my son, they would definitely be alarmed because it's not. Cairo, don't color on mommy's walls. It's say, bruh, you know better. You the fuck know better. Don't do that. And he'll stop. And so I think gentle parenting for us is reprogramming, whereas gentle parenting for them is just initial programming.
Mm-hmm.
We have generations of parents who have had to parent us like slaves, who have had to prepare us for adversity from the world, prepare us to have to listen to somebody else, prepare us to acclimate to other people's way of doing things. And so they had to parent us and be hard on us for generation after generation after generation. And now we're in a space where we can ease up on that, but the effects of that slavery style parenting are still there. So we have to reprogram the family. Whereas white folks just started having to raise their own kids. So this is their initial programming. Mammy
Right.
was raising their kids up until a couple decades ago. So they just now started parenting their kids. So this is their initial download. This is their initial programming. And we're having to go back and reprogram some things. We're having to go back and parent against 400 years of generational trauma, whereas they don't have to do that. And so it's kind of like my PlayStation 3 is going to move a whole lot slower than your PlayStation 5.
Right.
The programming's different and we have to do different things in order to make them work. As a black mother in the 1800s had to parent her son in a way of flying below the radar. I don't want you to be too great. I don't want you to
Right.
stand out. I don't want you to be strong because if you're too good at what you do, they might take you away from me. So I'm going to enforce mediocrity into you. I'm going to enforce that you just do enough just to get by so that I can keep you close to me. And we did that for hundreds of years. And then it got to the 70s and the 80s, and it's like, nope, be a man, be the head of the family again. And they're like, how? We haven't been able to for hundreds of years, and now you want me to be the head of the household. I don't know how to do that. And so we're having to reprogram and correct a lot of damage that was done. We had to parent our daughters in the 1800s to do everything, to be hyper independent, to be able to fix this and cook this and take care of that. We had to instill all of this manual labor and this head of household mindset into our daughters because it, unlike the men, if they slipped even a little bit, off they go. It's a different standard that they were held to. And so we had to encourage our daughters to be the best little slave that you could be and stay on master's good side and more importantly, stay on his wife's good side. And so now we have a bunch of women that are so hyper independent that they don't know how to let a man lead and be a head of the household. And so we got so much reprogramming that we have to do on our end that white people just don't have that experience and don't have to do. And so gentle parenting for them is not gentle parenting for us. I do believe in talking to your children, explaining things to your children. Tell man why he can't color on the wall. Tell him why he shouldn't throw that toy. Explain to him if he throws that toy, what's the consequence after that? If he does it
Mm.
again, what happens after that? And see how that works for you. As opposed to he did something you didn't like, now you're going upside his head. All you taught him is the same thing master taught a slave. I don't agree with that. Whereas Timmy across town with his mama, if she tell him don't color on the wall and he still feel like coloring on the walls, he gonna go upstairs and use those same markers to make a hit list and shoot a school up because Timmy gonna do what he wanna do. So very different parenting styles because we have very different children. We have very different makeups and experiences that led up to this. So yeah, we can gentle parent, but not the same way that they can. I tell my son, even though he's 3, I have to have conversations with my son about the police. And to me, that's absurd. He should be somewhere watching Ninja Turtles. I should not have to give him a lesson on how to interact with the police. But he's a young black man and he's in the South and he's big for his age. So I have to have those conversations with him. I can't let my son
Mm-hmm.
go outside with the white neighbors and go play with water guns because who's to say some cop ain't having a bad day, and when he see little Cairo with a water gun, oh, he thinks it's a Uzi and he starts shooting. My son has to
Right.
be raised differently. So in that aspect, we can gentle parent to a certain extent, but our lives and the adversities that we face aren't so gentle. So we have to add that extra layer on there.
Now y'all see why she is Reverend Dr. Jane Huskey, okay? And I was okay with waiting 10 months for her to come back on this platform over
10
here.
months is crazy.
10 and a half. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? But thank you, Reverend Dr. Jane Husky, for your time, for your love, for your candor, for your realness. You understand what I'm saying? And we're excited, in the next, 10 months from now when you come back, you know what I'm saying? And,
While y'all outside on tour, make your way to North Carolina now. While you're outside.
we outside, I'm telling you, we are outside everywhere. You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah. Final remarks, if you got anything you want to promote, where people can find you and reach you, even though most of us already know, but there's always new people that are checking in here daily. And, thank you to those new folks that are finding us and hearing you for the first time. So if they need consultation, they need some counseling, they need some therapy, if they need Black Jesus, Puerto Rican Jesus, you understand what I'm saying? Whatever they need, you got it for them. So,
So I can be reached on houseofblanco.com for any services that you need booked, whether they're therapy services, spiritual work, readings, spiritual consultations. Houseofblanco.com it is. Also on houseofblanco.com, there is a tab for New Eden University. If you're interested in taking any of the classes or registering for some of the accredited courses that we have, you can definitely do that as well. On all social platforms, I am Blanco Bruja. The books are available on Amazon. You can check those out as well. And like I said, we have the part two to both of them coming out in the spring. And so, yeah, just look me up. I'm not hard to find at all.
I know you got some retreat. I know you got some virtual retreat. I know you got some stuff going on too.
Oh
Okay, so we
yeah,
ain't just
so I
gonna
do
gloss on
have
the gloss.
so
Right?
much going on. I gotta keep up. So I do have starting on January 7th, I have a mother-daughter workshop for Black mothers and daughters. They have to be at least 13 years of age because of the content discussed. But it's a virtual workshop that we're going to do on Wednesday nights, every first and third Wednesday, where we're going to get together and do some exercises, some trust building and bonding exercises, some group therapy with other mothers and daughters, just to try to bridge that gap between Black mothers and daughters and see if we can get some healing there. I also have a couples workshop that starts on January 14th. It'll also be on Wednesday nights. It'll be on the second and fourth Wednesday of every month, where couples of all types, whether it's poly, LGBTQIA, all couples accepted. We'll just come together and the same thing, do some exercises for healing, do some group therapy, do some bonding exercises, and see if we can get some healing in those aspects too. And so all of those, you can find those on houseofblanco.com as well.
Yes. And I know you got a deal. You got a deal. You always got some deal popping up. Okay, you got some
Always a
deals.
deal. And when I
And,
say it, when I tell people the deal, they look at me crazy like it's a catch to it or like I must be out of my mind. But for $100, you can get a full month of therapy from me. Now, granted, most of the time, one therapy session costs more than $100. But I
right,
want to make mental health and mental help so accessible to people that they have no excuse but to go and get it. And so, even if you're not insured, even if you're having to do self pay, $100, I have a bundle where you can get unlimited sessions for a month. So, even if you have a session with me on Monday and something happens at work on Tuesday and you need to talk to me again, you're able to book that. And so, you're able to get those on houseofblanco.com as well. Unlimited for a month is $100. Unlimited for 2 months is $200. And whether you just need 3 sessions that month or 30 sessions that month is covered under that fee. No extra fees ever. I want to make it as accessible as possible to my people and want to help just kind of introduce y'all to therapy so that we can continue to break that stigma of it being white people shit. So, yeah, $100 unlimited therapy for a month.
So there you have it. Okay, you got a deal. Okay, you got a deal. See what happened when you tune in to Do Not Radio? You might get a deal. You might get a deal. So go Lions. Okay, shout out to my family. You understand what I'm saying? My squad.
I knew they was gonna pull up.
They was in here skirting like skirt. What's going on?
They
Skirt,
better
skirt,
have that
skirt.
homework done now that Christmas is okay. Homework. Let's get
I can't
Christmas
help
is
y'all with the
over
homework.
with. Santa done
I got my
came.
own.
Do your homework.
I got my own homework. You know what I'm saying? I can't help you with your homework.
Nah, they're pretty good about that.
That's what's up. So we're about to get up out of here. Thank you for your time, for your love, and for the
My
truth.
pleasure.
And you made it through Christmas, okay?
I
You made it.
did.
I was scared.
Barely, but I made it. Now I gotta go back down here with Cairo on the track and listen to this madness. So yeah.
Cairo on the track. Yeah. So we out until next time, y'all. Peace and love.
Peace, peace.
Painter, brother's letter. I should cut my ear off like Van Gogh. Stop performing at the Klan shows. Watch myself from the audience. Play piano with lit candles. I mean, I'll still perform, but the thrill is gone. I don't feel as strong, maybe cause the wheel is torn. I clutch in the ball cause I'm sick to my gut. Then I brushed off the dust, stood up like I was touched by healing palms. I picked up my shield and 3 rocks as I'm hearing psalms. Know ye not that ye are gods? And I've been blocked by bouncers, overlooked by the announcers. I'm in the stand with the fans, which told me many of my album was like a counselor. They said songs like Then From Now, got them from then to now. Even deja vu, they said the old man was you. In the reoccurring nightmare, where you kept coming back around. I took a picture with him, then he showed me a picture of his daughter in a cap and gown. He said he put her through college because your words stood up for knowledge. Said to be honest, you like a prophet. I said stop it. He said what made you right before quarantine take us to Nebula in a rocket? I said it was just my journey to the planet of gods, a divine intervention. Just a mantra I said for the monsters in my head. Kept reliving, but we true and living. Like 3 supermen then, he said, who you kidding? That was a beautiful listening. Clan came on and music was hitting. They did 4th chamber while I talked to strangers about his divorce and child support papers. Got it restrained and caught for his anger. On the cross cause of haters. As Ghost finish up with the black suede while it dawn. They look around, I'm not on. They search backstage and I'm gone. Watch finish the set, play the next song. Play the next. Nobody would remember. He hardly was a member. But the gods was his Avengers. With the bars, always an inventor. From kindergarten to jobs at the center. From the mini-mart, parking cars for the winter. Kept a penny jar. What's the odds I get injured? Dreams of a football star was hindered. My lovers died, my brother's demise. My first son arrived in September. Virgo. No more pop locking like a turbo. Stopping in Stockton in my circles. Melanetza, love was eternal. Ancestors, embrace her. Sword in my dreams like Jacob. Wrestle with the devils before I wake up. Or was that an angel in flames who renamed you? Kill a priest to join the Wu-Tang school. Say to them, oh son of man, now children go in the land. Now I'm on send them 5 deadly venoms.
Freak out, yo!
Yeah, man. Man, say what up.
Huh?
Say what up.
Say what?
Say what's up. Man, you look like grandma.
Oh, you looking at me now?
knowledge born? What's the science, baby?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.